Today we're going to talk about and look at probably the single most important thing that you can do to be safe in wintertime driving. Hi, Mike from the Rural Montana family. Well, what is that most important thing that you can do to be safe in wintertime driving? Well, it is to have traction. How do you get traction? Tires. Tires are extremely important because what connects your car to the road? It is the tire. And that is one of the most important and overlooked or misunderstood items on a car. Actually, many car dealers or Tesla service centers tell you that the car comes with all-season tires. All season, perfect. I can drive all season, every season. Winter, summer, fall, spring, whatever, anything in between. And the tire's gonna be perfect, right? No, wrong. That doesn't exist. There is no tire that is perfect for every season. An all-season tire is bad in the wintertime. Look out here. I mean, an all-season tire ain't gonna cut it out here. I guarantee you that. In the summertime, yeah, it does okay. Around here, it's not too hot, so it's not too bad. It probably does all right. It's not going to be perfect, but on most cars it will do pretty good. Fall, it can do all right. It depends a little bit. If you have heavy rains, it should do all right. Spring, probably similar. It depends a little bit on how the spring is where you live. But so an all season can be all right in spring, summer, and fall. But in the wintertime like this, no way, no. So I just got reminded yesterday again about how important it is to have good tires in the wintertime. We just drove about 15 miles and the roads are really bad right now. Were yesterday and still are today. We have extreme cold right now. Actually, it's about 11 in the morning and it's minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And a few days ago, it was snowing. We got about 8 to 10 inches of snow. Relatively wet because it was still warm. It was above freezing when it was snowing, so it just wasn't good. And then the next day temperatures started dropping, and so this is now the second day that we wake up to about minus 20 degrees in the morning. So and road conditions were really bad. The interstate was basically a sheet of ice, and we could go maybe 40, 50 miles max. Yeah, so not good at all. And that was a good reminder why we have the tires that we have on our cars and why we have two sets of wheels, one for summer and one for winter. We actually prefer to have complete set of wheels so I can go out there and just change complete wheels when the time comes, rather than having to go to the tire shop and take the tires in and have them change tires, come back with the old tires in the car and so on and so forth. If you have complete sets of wheels, and if you're handy enough to do so, then you can just change them at home, and that's what I prefer. Two sets of wheels always been normal to me. As I grew up, my dad had two sets of wheels, one for summer, one for winter. That was just the normal. But then over time, as these all-season tires came out, people thought they don't need winter tires anymore. And that is not true. There is an actual summer tire, there's an actual winter tire, and then there's all-season tires. And then we have different summer tires and different winter tires, okay? What does that mean, different summer tires? Well, we have like summer tires for high-performance vehicles. So vehicles that are sports cars or that have lots of horsepower anyway, that you would maybe race with on a racetrack or something, you know, like a Corvette, let's say, or even a Tesla Model S Plaid nowadays would probably certainly require high performance tires in the summertime if you're driving sporty. If you're not, you could get by with an all-season tire, I guess. But yeah, so there's basically regular summer tire that are just rated for summer, for higher temperatures, and that will have a decent grip in the summer and not wear out quickly, but perform really good, have really good traction. And then there's the high performance summer tire that even has more traction, but will wear out a little quicker, but you would drive it a little sporty too. For fall, spring and fall, you could use that high performance or that summer tire at some point. You would change over to those. And then in winter, you would drive a winter tire. And there's many winter tires out there. Winter tires, if you look those up and you start researching, you find a lot of them are actually all season. They're not real winter tires. You search for winter tires online and they show you all season tires. And all season is not a real winter tire. And then there are winter tires that are a little bit cheaper and they perform decent, but they're not good or great. They're okay. Then there is studded tires. A lot of people still like studded tires. Studded tires only perform great on pure ice. That's what our studs are for, to grab ice. Okay, if you don't drive on ice, then you don't need a studded tire. Now that said, how often do you drive on ice? Well, there is possibly ice once in a while, but hardly ever. What is this? 1% or less when you actually hit ice. And so studded tires have a lot of disadvantages. Well, they destroy the roads. If you drive on the road on pavement, well, it's metal on that pavement and that just destroys the roads, and that's not good because that costs us more to maintain the roads again. Also, they're noisy. Basically all the time. They also have the disadvantage that if you're especially on pavement, if it's wet pavement, you have not so great traction because metal on pavement doesn't really have traction, okay? A piece of metal, if you throw it on pavement, it just slides over it. And if the pavement is wet, even worse, right? Also, in snow, it doesn't really have any advantages because the studs really don't do anything unless they can grab something hard, like ice. That's the only time. So, also, because we put studs in, you will see like blocks about 1 inch by 1 inch where the stud has to be put in. So that is an area where the tire can't be siped. What is siped? Those are these cuts in the tire, these little cuts that you see in real snow tires, okay? But where the stud goes, this is about 1 inch by 1 inch area that has to be solid so it can hold the stud. And because it needs to hold the stud there, we don't have the siping in there. And that means that little block actually doesn't perform as good, doesn't give us the traction we need most of the time, because most of the time we drive on snow or slush, or could even be raining. It depends a little bit on what you get in the winter, but you hardly ever drive on real ice. And almost never all 4 wheels are on ice at the same time. So studded tires are actually not that great. They're much better than regular winter tires that are okay. So the studded tire will do usually much better because it also has much more siping compared to the just plain regular winter tires. So they do much better. But the best tire is a studless snow tire. And why are they called studless snow tires? Because there is no option to put studs on those tires because they're completely siped everywhere. And that siping is what really gives it the traction, especially as you're driving it. It tears these siped parts open and they really grab the snow or the slush or even the ice. Many studless snow tires outperform studded tires on ice. I know this sounds like almost impossible, but if you have a relatively cheap tire and you put studs on, your traction may not be as good as having a studless tire on ice. So studless tires do really good overall, and if you research that, you'll come out with about 3 or 4 that are really high performing. So for us, we have been driving Chevy Bolt front wheel drive. We have been driving the Tesla Model S rear wheel drive and the Tesla Model 3 all wheel drive. And even before electric vehicle times for us, which is now, we've been driving electric for 5 years now. Even before that, we used these Studless Snow Tires on internal combustion engine vehicles. We had it on our Honda Accord. We had it on our Chrysler Town & Country minivan. Yeah, we used Studless Snow Tires for a long time. And for many years, I always done the research every winter and still do. And there's basically always 2 tires that come out at the top, and they're right there next to each other. Sometimes this one's number 1, sometimes the other one's number 1. And it's always either the Michelin X-Ice or the Bridgestone Blizzak, the WS90. These always seem to be the top performers overall, okay? They're not necessarily perfect everywhere. No tire ever is, but they're always top performers, and they always share number 1 and number 2 spot in those tests. Lately, especially here in North America, Nokian tires became more popular. They've been popular in Europe. Well, that's where they're from. And Nokian has really good tires as well. We see less tests here in the United States with those tires because they're not as popular so far, but they have proven themselves in Europe. And I would assume the Studless Nokian Snow Tire, they make one for electric cars even nowadays, will be right up there with the Michelin and the Bridgestone. And this year, I got such a great deal on the Pirelli Sotto Zero, which is actually the winter tire that Tesla sells. They have, if you look on the website, you can buy the wheels, complete wheels with the Pirelli Sotto Zero on it. And I got such a great deal on it that I went for this tire. And the Pirelli Sotto Zero is not necessarily categorized as a studless snow tire. It's more categorized as a high-performance winter tire. High performance meaning, again, for high-performance vehicles. So again, most electric vehicles are basically high performance compared to their internal combustion engines, brothers and sisters, because you have so much horsepower and so much torque at all times. So they're pretty much all high performance. But so these high performance winter tires do usually not perform as great in conditions like we have out here right now. They're right up there. They're definitely better than your average winter tire, no doubt about it. They still can outperform the studded tires. So this is the first winter we do the Pirelli Sotto Zero, and I'm impressed. It was better than I expected. It is really good. It is great, actually. It's just a little below the Michelin X-Ice and the Bridgestone Blizzak. And we have direct comparison, obviously, since we drove all these tires. And so the Sotto Zero is a great tire, no doubt about it. And Bridgestone makes a Blizzak, not the WS90. The WS90 is the Studless Snow Tire, but they make a high-performance Blizzak as well. We haven't tested that one. Not sure how that one performs. So that would be another option, and it probably will do really good. So that said, most important is that you get the right tire for the season for where you live. Obviously, not everybody lives like us here, where we have the snow and the cold, the ice, and we have this all winter long. Obviously, if you're living further south in a mild climate, an all-season tire will be just fine for you all year long. There's no doubt about it. If you never get to see snow and don't go up into the mountains for skiing and stuff, you certainly don't need anything else. But if you live somewhere where you get a little snow and ice once in a while, you definitely need a good winter tire. If you're in an area where you get maybe once a little snow, maybe once a little ice, well, maybe you want to consider a just basic winter tire so you can save a little bit of money. But sometimes when you shop around, actually, you'll find that even a Studless Snow Tire is not much more money, or even the same as some of these not so great performing winter tires. So it's a matter of shopping around a little bit. I went to the local tire store here, and I was really interested in getting Nokian tires. But I could have bought 2 sets of Michelin X-Ice or 2 sets of Bridgestone Blizzaks for that car at Costco for what the local tire dealer wanted for the Nokian. And that is not, no, heck no. No, that is impossible. So we get our Michelins and Blizzaks, our Bridgestones, from Costco. Costco all year long. 1 month they give you $150 off on a set of 4 Michelins. The next month they give you $150 off on a set of Bridgestones. So for us, it came down to whenever we needed them, 1 month, October, November, what they had on sale, that's what we got. And then it comes down to what size you actually have, because not every tire is available in every size. That is another problem you could run into. So you may really want the Bridgestone Blizzak WS90. And I was looking into that for a certain size. I don't remember now what size that was, which vehicle it was. But the WS90 was not available in this size. I would have had to go over to the high performance tire. And I really didn't want to do that. I basically wanted the Studless Snow Tire. So I kept chopping around, and I don't remember which car it was at the time, but I found a tire that worked. And currently we are running the Bridgestone Blizzak WS90 on our 2013 Tesla Model S. That is a rear wheel drive. And that is the second winter now that we run those Blizzaks on there, and they're great. The other day I was in town up in the hills there, in the foothills, and it just snowed, and there was about 6-8 inches of snow on the road. There was already people driving through, obviously, but the roads were not plowed because the plows don't make it up there really fast, if at all. And I don't want to say I didn't have any traction issues. Yes, there were issues. The car was spinning out a little bit, traction control kicked on. But I was going past 4-wheel drive SUVs, okay, with the rear wheel drive Tesla. And that was possible because of the traction, because of the tire. People with their 4-wheel drive, they don't think about tires. So the tire is good enough. I got 4-wheel drive, which, yeah, it can help you. The 4-wheel drive can help you get going, but it certainly doesn't help you stop. And that's one of the other factors. You need to be able to stop. A good tire will grab and you can stop. An all-season tire won't. So yeah, we're doing the Blizzak WS90 on the Tesla Model S rear wheel drive. We did the Blizzak on the Chevy Bolt, the 2020 Chevy Bolt we had. Front wheel drive, same great performance, really good, never really had an issue. And we've been doing the Michelin X-Ice for the past 4 winters on the Tesla Model 3, that is an all-wheel drive, and now we're doing the Soto Zero on there. So yes, it is super important to have a good tire. And there's one thing that is probably different from an internal combustion engine car to a electric car, and it's not probably different, it is different. So with an internal combustion engine car, as you let go of your accelerator, you kind of coast along. It will slow you down a little bit because there is obviously some resistance there. But with an electric car, you have regeneration, and I see lots of posts on forums or in groups where people complain about regeneration and that, well, they can't do regeneration, the tires lock up or whatever. Well, that's because they have the wrong tires, okay? We always drive all cars with single pedal driving, the highest setting for regeneration. And that's not just me driving like that. My wife has the same settings. She has the highest setting for regen, and we're doing single pedal driving. She does single pedal driving, and we have no issues. Sure, there could be the extreme where obviously even regen could lock up the wheels. And then it depends totally on the car. So the Tesla is extremely advanced, and as soon as it senses lockup on the wheels in regen, it will just take regen away. And from there on, actually, Tesla has now implemented automatically a lower regeneration, kind of like a snow mode, if you want. Where then for a certain amount of time, it will just lower your regeneration a little bit because it expects it to lock up again. And then if it doesn't lock up over a certain amount of time, this will go back up again. But it works really well with the Tesla in the wintertime without locking up the wheels. The Bolt that we drove is a little bit different. And since it's a front wheel drive, or actually both Teslas, even the rear wheel drive and the dual motor, they do basically the same. The Bolt was a little bit different, that when the wheels lock up, but it senses the rear wheels still spinning, there's still speed there because it has speed sensors on the rear wheels as well, then it will take your regeneration away as well. But it doesn't do a limitation on it like Tesla. It's a little bit different. I assume that will improve over time with the new models. As they get more data, they will improve that as well. But under extreme conditions, yes, there's a possibility these wheels will lock up. Now, under these extreme conditions, well, if you would have a regular car, internal combustion engine car without regen, or if you turn the regen completely off in your EV, guess what? Under those conditions, if you needed to slow down and step on the brake, well, you would slide too. Okay, and then people say, well, I got ABS. Yes, you do have ABS when you step on the brake. But ABS only works from a certain speed down to about 5 miles an hour. At about 5 miles an hour, your ABS will no longer work. Because if it will keep working, you could never stop, right? You need to be able to lock up your wheels in order to stop. So if you're going really slow, with any car, you have no ABS when you step on the brake. So, and what you can do, obviously, if with your regen, just feather your pedal and you should be fine. You can actually, if you let go of the pedal, if you're the person that is either on or off the accelerator pedal, you need to learn how to feather the pedal and just use the accelerator pedal as a speed control device rather than an on-off, okay? And you'll do much better. Under the extreme situation, what can you do? Well, you can always step on the brake, obviously, and you will get your regular ABS kicking in. And as the ABS kicks in, it cuts out your regen anyway. So that's another option. But what if you need to keep rolling just a little bit and everything? Well, you could put your car in neutral. That would be another option. But in general, if you feel unsafe, and you lost traction, it's not, then you need to step on the brake, okay? And the ABS, like I said, the ABS will kick in down to a certain speed. I mean, there's just so many situations where nobody can help you anymore because at some point, if it's so darn slick out there, well, then hopefully you're not in that situation, but it happens, unfortunately. And yes, you may get in a fender bender. I mean, we've seen cars slide just all four wheels were locked up and they just slide down, okay? The best thing you can do, like in the worst condition, is trying to keep your steering, which is possibly put the car in neutral and let the wheels roll and steer. But these are extreme situations, and that's what? Less than 1% when you're in such an extreme situation. Overall, you're in somewhat normal situations like we have now. They get a little icy and stuff, and your all-season tire will suck, and a big chance of you not being able to stop, big chance of you not being able to steer. Can't blame Regen for that, or single pedal driving usually. It's bad tire, okay? If you have a good winter tire, a Studless Snow Tire, if you're driving under conditions like we have here, then you won't have those issues. Like I said, we've been doing this for 5 winters now, and we really never had the issue. Regen never gave us a real problem with slowing down. Obviously, you gotta adjust your speed. You obviously, you can't run up to a red light and then slam on the brakes like you would do in the summertime. You gotta do this much slower. You gotta keep your distance. Your entire driving has to be different in the wintertime. But tires certainly will do a huge part. You can do all the slowing down as early as possible and everything. I've seen it many times. People really come up really slow to a red light, step on the brake, because you gotta stop. You gotta lock up the wheels eventually to stop, and then they just slide right out into the intersection. And they were just going 1 or 2 miles an hour, and they just slide out because the tire has no traction. So really important is that you have great tires, okay? So don't save money. Yes, these tires may be more, so I may have to spend $200 more, $300 more, even $400 more than a regular winter tire or an all-season tire, but that is not much money. If I get into a fender bender and I have to pay somebody else and my insurance goes up and all that stuff, and possibly the police shows up and you get a ticket, and I don't know, maybe you even need to be towed. There's so many things. Then $400 more was well worth it. Well, yeah, initially you gotta, if you decide you don't need winter tires at all, well, yeah, then I spend $1,200 and you don't spend any at all. But if you get in an accident, $1,200 are gone really quick, and I don't get into the accident. So tires are extremely important. And you can go into my winter driving videos. I always talk about the tires, and you can see all these winter driving videos we have on our channel. We drive under some extreme conditions, in winter storms, in deep snow, and we always keep going. We always can slow down, we can stop. We really have never had really any issues. You adjust your driving according to the situation, but you still have to have a good tire that actually can make you stop. And so it's extremely important that under conditions like we have here, you don't run all-season tires. You need Studless Snow tires. In a mediocre climate, somewhat mildish, you may get away with a regular winter tire. And in a warm climate, obviously, you can run an all-season all year long. Also with winter tires, they only work good to about 50% thread left. If you used 50% of that tire, it's not going to be working anymore as it did before. It's not going to be a snow tire anymore at all. It needs as much thread as possible. So if you don't have above 50%, that tire is no good. If you look at the tire, oh, it looks great, and if legally it may still be fine, but it's not going to perform out here. So what we do, which is not the perfect thing to do, but it works just fine, we leave them on. If they're in spring, they're coming down to the 50%. In spring, we just leave them on, and we drive them through the summer. And then we just go get new tires in fall, or when winter comes, we just drive the car with the worn out snow tires to the tire shop and they put 4 new tires on. So that's what we do. We just wear them out during the summer, and they can wear out pretty quick in the summer. So you want to be careful. You want to watch them, because the winter tires are a much softer rubber compound, so that it can perform in the cold. So in the summertime, depending on where you're at and how high the temperatures are, you want to watch and see, because they may wear out much quicker than you think, and you may not be able to make it to winter. You may actually still have to swap the wheels and get your summer tires on for a month or 2 just to make it. So you want to definitely watch them, but that's what we do. So we just wear them further down to basically the legal limit in the summertime. If you drive somewhere where you have lots of rain, I guess Seattle, Washington is one of those places where it's raining all the time and where you have lots of water, you don't necessarily want to go down to the legal limit with any tire ever, because of all that rain. These tires no tire will perform down at the legal limit, even in rain or anything. If you drive through a puddle, not good. So you definitely want to consider that too. So there's many considerations, but like I said, most importantly, if you drive in snow and ice, if you're up north somewhere where you have a similar climate like we do, you need to have studless snow tires. And there are some people that really go with the studded tires, and they say that's the best, and I'm telling you, it's not the best. It's only working great if you really drive on ice. And if you have to drive on paved roads with studded tires, well, first of all, it's loud. Second, it just destroys the roads, literally. So if you really like the studded tires and you live in an area where you really drive on hard-packed snow and ice the entire time while you have those on, okay, that's acceptable. But other than that, go for a studless snow tire like the Michelin X-Ice, Bridgestone Blizzak WS90, or even a high-performance snow tire like the Pirelli Sato Zero will do much better. It will be much nicer, because now that you're driving an electric car, there's no more engine noise. You hear all the tire noise. So studded tires are just noisy, not just for you inside the car, also for the people outside the car. There's one other big concern with electric cars and winter tires. A lot of people say, well, as soon as you put winter tires on, your range is going to decrease so massively that it's impossible to drive. The range is actually not affected that much by most tires. So with our Michelin X-Ice and Bridgestone Blizzaks we've been running, the effect on range was not bad at all. 5, maybe 10%, if that. I would say 5% or less, probably. It was more road conditions affecting it worse. With the Pirelli Sato Zero, there I see a little more decrease in range. So that is definitely possible that a snow tire will take away some of your range, but it's not just a snow tire. If you, even in the summertime, depending on what tire you put on, if you don't have the low roll resistance tires that the car comes with, guess what? That means you have probably a higher roll resistance, so you will have a loss in range anyway. But I found it to be minimal. Overall, with most tires, there will be some that affect it more than others. So you just have to figure that out with your own experience. I mean, it really, there's so many things that affect it. But overall, it's you have to figure out which tire loses, with which tire you lose most of the range. I mean, your driving habits will affect that a little bit. The environment will affect that a little bit. And it may be different for different people, because somebody that drives overall in relatively mild temperatures in the summertime, 70, maybe 80 degrees all the time, compared to somebody that drives in 100 or more degree temperature in the summertime, you may get different results on the same car with the same tire. So But definitely for wintertime driving, shoot for Studless Snow tires. Buy the best tire you can. Don't overspend, just like I didn't overspend. I really wanted the Nokian tire to see how this is, but no, I'm not going to pay almost twice as much as I will pay for a Michelin X-Ice or a Bridgestone Blizzak. Sorry, that's not going to be happening. It's not twice the tire that I get for twice the money. It's the same tire, it's just a different brand, I guess. So shop around. There are deals to be found. Like I said, we mostly, or pretty much all the time, buy our tires from Costco. Costco has really great pricing, but you're limited to the Michelin or the Bridgestone, basically, with that. But the pricing is, I mean, it's unbelievable, I think. It's unbeatable. Shopping around town, I contacted a couple. I also looked into a Hankook tire, which I've been familiar with from about 3 decades ago. I used to actually install Hankook tires, and they were really good, and they really have a great winter tire as well. But the prices were outrageous too. I mean, it was almost, again, just like the Nokian, the Hankook was almost twice the money that Costco wanted. How did I end up with the Pirelli? Well, I found the Pirelli on TireRack.com. And by the way, I'm not sponsored or anything, but I go to TireRack quite frequently on their website. They have lots of tire testing. They have lots of tire reviews there. And it's a good way to compare pricing. They're relatively cheap on TireRack, but depending on where you are, you may have to pay shipping for it. I got those Sato Zeros from TireRack. There was no shipping, it was included. I also got an installation credit of $120, and the tires were on sale already. So this was a super great deal, and that's how we ended up with these tires. Now that said, if you buy tires on TireRack and you don't have a dealer in town or a tire shop in town that is associated with TireRack, they probably charge you more for the installation. So I was charged $60 extra because I brought the tires, brand new tires, from another store. So they charged me $60 more. I paid $170. But like I said, I got a $120 credit from TireRack for installation. And the usual installation would have been $110 at that place. I paid $170, so I paid $60 extra. Still not too bad. Overall, still a much better deal. So sometimes you can pay more for installation if you get a really great deal on a tire like that. So many options out there. You want to do your research, but definitely do not run your all-season tires all season long if you experience winter, okay? If your winter is just another season that is about the same as the rest of the year, then your all-season will be fine. But if you're anywhere where you experience winter a few times anyway out of the actual winter time, then look into Studless Snow tires. They're definitely great, and they will keep you and others safe on the road and can save you lots of money, even though they cost a little bit more up front. Just like buying an electric car, it probably costs you a little bit more up front, but in the long run, you're saving so much money. Same thing with good tires. And you will be able to enjoy your Regen single pedal driving all year long safely if you have great tires. Well, that is it for this video. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up for this video and any other video you watch from our channel, and go look at our channel, look at the videos. Don't just wait for the new videos to come out. Go and look at the videos we already have. We have so many videos from the last couple years with wintertime driving, summertime driving, with different cars that we have here that we literally drive and own. They're not just test vehicles like so many other channels where they just have them for a few days. No, we drive those for living. This is, well, for living. We live with those cars. These are our cars that we drive. So, and we have really good videos that show you wintertime driving under extreme conditions that we have here at times. Also, we have summertime driving with the same car. There's many tips and tricks in all those videos. As problems come up or issues come up or things, I always point out what you can do or what we done. So things that when you're out there in your EV, you already have an idea what to do when that comes up. So go back and look at our older videos. But yeah, also go down below in the description. There's a link to our Redbubble store. Click on that link and go check out our merch. We got some EV inspired, renewable inspired stuff there. And yeah, maybe you'd like something that we have in our store there. Well, in any event, thank you for watching. Goodbye.